From Dated to I Do is a Christian woman's guide to praying, planning, and preparing for her future husband. If you're a single woman, this book will help you stop feeling stuck and start living a more fulfilling life today. You'll date with integrity and self-respect in today's anything goes society. You'll position yourself to meet Mr. Right without looking desperate or compromising who you are. If you're ready to live the life that God has for you, and if you're ready to prepare for the next season of life, which is marriage, then this book is exactly what you've been looking for. It is available right now at Amazon.com. From Dated to I Do is a Christian woman's guide to praying, planning, and preparing for her future husband. If you're a single woman, this book will help you stop feeling stuck and start living a more fulfilling life today. You'll date with integrity and self-respect in today's anything goes society. You'll position yourself to meet Mr. Right without looking desperate or compromising who you are. If you're ready to live the life that God has for you, and if you're ready to prepare for the next season of life, which is marriage, then this book is exactly what you've been looking for. It is available right now at Amazon.com. Non-negotiables that you should not negotiate on, just like we talked about having that relationship with Christ. Then of course I'm gonna choose number 3, but if it's as this person is late all the time, that may be, and I'm an on-time person, maybe I can't work with that. Is it something that could annoy me? Yes, but could it something I live with for the rest of my life? So I guess it just all depends.
Thank you guys so much for tuning in to another episode of Heart Talk with Coach Abby, the show where we talk about singleness, marriage, and everything in between. I'm so excited that you guys have decided to tune in to the show today. I'm really excited about our topic today. How long should I be in a dating relationship? I'm telling you, this is a question that I can honestly say that I feel like I don't have a problem answering for myself. But when I tell people, my response to it, then they like, but what if X, Y, and Z? Then I'm like, I didn't think about that. What if? Um, so also we have Coach Abby here as well. Now, if this is your first time ever tuning into the show, make sure you go ahead and share this video now so that more people will know about Coach Abby and her services and just about this show in general. Now, the great thing about this show is it's interactive. Now, you can post your questions and your comments in that comment field, and you can also call in. That's a great feature to have as well that we allow you to do, but it's questions only. And you also have to be patient with us because we will come to your question when you do call in. That information is listed in that description box as well. Now, if you're tuning in from any other page other than Martinique Y. Brown, Everything Authors, or Worthy of Love Counseling and Coaching, then we need you to come over to one of those 3 pages so that we can see your questions and comments. Now, if you're tuning in from YouTube, Everything Authors, then I can definitely see your questions posted as well. Now, the great thing about Coach Abby, she is not only a licensed mental health therapist and relationship coach, but she is also an author. So, Coach Abby, I'm so excited that we get to talk to the people today about this great topic. Can you just tell the viewers just a little bit more about yourself?
Yeah, thank you, Martinique. Hi, everybody. Good evening. My name is Coach Abby, and I am a Christian dating coach, and I help single professional Christian women position themselves to attract the man that God has for them.
So again, like I said, you all, we are talking about how long should I be in a dating relationship? If you can just go ahead and post in the comment field, how long are you, nobody else, how long are you willing to be in a dating relationship? Put that answer in the comment field for us. I'm excited to see what you guys say. Also, shout out to Doc Angela who's tuning in. She said, good evening, ladies. Good evening, Doc. I'm telling you, y'all, we do not bite. Now, I told you we like to we like some interaction. So just go ahead and tell us hello. Let us know that you're tuning in from the virtual world. And another thing that I never do, tell us where you are tuning in from. I always love to see where people are from. You know, it's crazy because, okay, so I used to live in Florida, but I would want people to know that I'm from Ohio. So tell us where you're tuning in from and tell us where you are a native of. So I know I tell people all the time where I'm from. I'm from Dayton, Ohio, and I used to live in Florida. But Coach Abby, tell them where you live now and tell them where you from.
So I am live from Maryland, and but I'm originally from St. Louis.
STL, Shody.
Midwest.
Yes, we are both Midwest girls. I think that's why we get along so well. But Coach Abby, why did you feel like it was important to even address this topic?
Yeah, I think it's a really talked about topic, especially when people are in, serious dating relationships. They are ready for marriage and they're just, in that space with how long should we date?
Yeah.
Is it too early to talk about, marriage, or we've been dating for X amount of years. I think this topic is always so important to talk about when it comes to dating in general and just being in a committed, relationship, knowing your next steps and having that defined, having a defined goal in your relationship.
I like that, a defined goal in your relationship. And it seems like, I don't even want to say so many people, but sometimes people get afraid of putting those type of, they call it timelines, those time frames, those timelines on the relationship, because I think that we have become, a group of people that's just like, well, let's just let it go with the flow. Like whatever happens. That's just not me. I'm just not that type of person.
I need that structure. I'm not a go with the flow type of girl. I need some structure. And what I'm doing.
Me too. So shout out to Kaylee Barnes. She said maximum 1 year before proposal. Also shout out to Daryl. He said 1 year minimum, 3 years maximum. Okay, okay. So Kaylee, make sure you go ahead and share this video now so that more people will know about the show and Coach Abby. So now this was a really good question because many of these questions came from a post, that I posted in Facebook, was simply just asking, if you desire marriage, how long are you willing to be in that dating relationship? So one of the questions was transitioning from singlehood to marriage. Do you recommend couples see a therapist to address their personal ideals of marriage?
As premarital counseling, or just is she talking about engaged couples, or just couples that are dating?
Can we respond to both groups of couples? A couple that is, they like, maybe I really do like this person. So they're the ones that's, they still in that discovery phase of their relationship. And then that second couple that's engaged already.
Yeah, so engaged, yes, I definitely recommend premarital counseling. And for dating couples, I would say you really have to be seriously dating. I don't think you should be in the discovery phase.
Okay.
First, if you're still trying to figure out who this person is. So maybe I would define seriously dating between 6 months to definitely a year or over a year, where you've actually, are committed, you've gone through some things, and now you're, trying to figure out, is this person who I need to spend the rest of my life with?
But Coach Abby, do you feel that it's kind of a waste of time? Let's say that I'm using that timeline, 6 months to a year. I've already,
and more preferably a year, I would say.
Oh, wow. Okay. So I've invested, I don't want to call it wasted time. So I've invested 6 months with this individual. Don't you think that I need to be having that discussion with him before six months of where his like his idea of marriage? Or do you think that because we threw in the word therapist, then that makes it a lot more serious of where the relationship needs to be?
Yeah, I think marriage should always be talked about, within the relationship. I guess if you're needing more professional help, or if you're needing more definition around it, around what marriage can look like, or, how marriage will work between the two of you all, then that's what I mean as far as like therapy. But the conversation should definitely start before you even get to in front of that person.
In front of
the professional, right?
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So what do you think makes a person ready for marriage? Can you answer a question like that?
Is this a Martinique question?
I'm telling you, girl, I did not write it. This was a view. I mean, this was a post question. I'm serious, but I would love to hear your response.
Oh boy, I mean that's not like a one heart talk with Coach Abby session. I mean, there are many factors that go into to see if you're actually ready for marriage. Your maturity level, your, commitment level, your readiness to sacrifice, because marriage is definitely, sacrificial, your level of selflessness, that level of vulnerability, that level of transparency.
Yeah.
It's just so many multi-factors, to that.
I think that is so true. And if we were saying like a scale of 1 to 10, do you feel like nobody is ever going to be a 10 on all of them, or can some people be realistically a 10 on some of them?
No, I don't think no one can be a realistically, because you're not looking for perfection, but you're looking for a willingness, a commitment to say, I am committed to making a sacrifice. I am committed to, being vulnerable, because you never know what it's really going to look like until you actually get into it, because you're learning that person, new situations come up, different things come up throughout life, throughout marriage. So you're always learning, who that person is. I just think there's now that level of commitment should be at a 10 where I'm committed, to doing the work to making this marriage last for a lifetime.
Mm-hmm. And some of our viewers may be new to the program, and they may not even know that you and Daryl, shout out to Daryl Brooks in the house, you and Daryl actually met online. I know you just talked about different situations will come up. How were you able to gauge how Daryl and vice versa? How were you two able to gauge how you would handle things if you lived long distance they lived in two different states, y'all. So Coach Abby lived in St. Louis, Daryl was living in Maryland. So how were you guys able to see how you would handle different situations living in two different states like that?
So yeah, we dated just the first year long distance. And so most of that first year, I was in school, he was working. So maybe different situations around conversations around finances, around work, career goals.
So it wasn't,
our beliefs in church, just to give you an example.
So it wasn't you weren't able to actually see how they would react. It was more so how they would respond to maybe different questions you guys had about those different topics.
Yes, yeah, during that first year mainly. I mean, but then when I moved out here, after that second year, then you have a little bit more realistic view as far as maybe how things would go. But I mean, you really don't know until you actually live with the person. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, even you can, we may respond in a certain way, but we're going back to our separate places. You know what I'm saying? So marriage is really about two people coming together and being in that same space, really learning that person on an intimate level.
Mm-hmm. Now, it was important. I mean, not even important, but it was something that you just mentioned, that you never really learn a person until you live together. And so one of the people that responded on the post, he was just saying that, you really just never learn somebody until you live together. How do you make somebody, I mean, we know that this is a Christian show per se.
Mm-hmm.
You are a Christian relationship coach. How do you make a person feel okay with not living with that person before marriage? How do you make them feel okay with maybe there are some things that you will discover about a person until you are married and living with that person?
So what was the question you asked? How do I make that person feel okay?
Like, what would you say to that person that's like, well, I want to know everything about this person before
you're not going to know
married.
everything. You're not going to know everything. That is such a myth when it comes to people cohabitating before marriage. They believe that they go in believing that I'm going to find out everything about this person. So then when we get married, I already know. That's not true. New situations come up. People change over time. Life happens. You're not going to be 100% clear on who that person is. You go through life with that person. And if you're willing to live with that person, then you should be ready to commit to that person, because you have your whole lives to live together as husband and wife.
Now, one of the, and I'm glad that you mentioned that, because I would hate for somebody to like just flip your response and be like, well, Coach Abby said, I ain't gonna know about the person until I live with them. But like Coach Abby was just saying, she's still learning things about Daryl, and they've been married for, I mean, y'all been married for what, 9 years?
It will be in October.
Okay. Yeah. And so, guys, I think we have to just become comfortable, with that as well. I know I was talking to one of my really good friends from college, and of course, I mean, we were just strictly friends and it's a male, but we've been friends since 2001. And I was telling him, I was like, man, I never knew this about you. So like you said, you constantly just keep learning about somebody.
Mm-hmm.
As you
Yeah.
go. And I guess that's supposed to be the fun part about it. But it is cool to still learn about somebody you've known for so many years.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly. Exactly.
so now Doc Angela, she made a comment. She said, I've never been engaged, but I've been told that folks are not really that honest during their premarital counseling. They sugarcoat their issues, likes and dislikes, which really is a barrier to the premarital counseling. What would you say to that?
People have to, it's not the counselor's job, or, when someone comes into therapy, a couple or individual, they have to be willing to lay it out there.
Mm-hmm.
What is, if you're not going to be honest, then what's the purpose of going? You don't have to do it.
Mm-hmm.
It's not, no one says you have to do premarital counseling. So if that's something you're not willing to really go through it and really take it as a feedback, getting tools, tips that you need for marriage to help you prepare, then why go?
Yeah, that's
You
good.
know,
That's good. And I'm really glad that you talked about we're being equipped with those tools
right.
as well, with that. So now, before I get to this next question, I do want to ask the question, when do you think, is it even right to say it can be too early to start talking about marriage? Like, when is the right time?
Um, I believe it should be known from the very beginning as far as what is your purpose for dating.
Mm-hmm.
So your purpose for dating is you want to become a wife, you want to become a husband, so it's never too early to make your intentions clear.
Okay. So now when we talk about making our intentions clear, do you recommend saying, if let's say that I met, this guy here in Ohio, and, during our first conversation, I do let him know that, my purpose of dating is for marriage. And then I put in, I am interested in, my desire to be married is within 2 years. Do you recommend putting a number to when I just said I desire to be married in 2 years?
You can say that as a goal. I mean, it's not, you're not putting pressure on that person. I mean, you can just say, yeah, my intentions are for marriage, and I'm hoping that I can meet my spouse or get married within the next 2 years. Um, I mean, to me, I don't see anything wrong with that. You're not telling him, oh, I want you to marry me within the next 2 years. I look at it as just conversation.
Okay.
Because people do ask, oh, really? So when would you like to be, married, or where do you see yourself within the next 5 years? You could throw in, I see myself in the next 5 years married with kids, whatever.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Now, I want to ask the viewers, what do y'all think about that? Do you think it's okay? Two questions. Do you think it's okay to bring it up that first time that you guys talk on the phone, about your timeline of when you desire to get married? Or do you feel that it's better to just wait? And if you feel that it's better to just wait, like how long do I'm always say how long do I need to wait before I bring that up to you?
And it's in a conversational style. If it doesn't come up, don't I is I'm looking at it as more as a conversational style. Like, how deep is this first conversation? You get what I'm saying? Is it like you all are on the phone for hours? Sometimes that can be that way, where you're talking about different dreams and goals. You're really connected. Or is this just like Yeah, so is it just something really surface, really vague?
Yeah.
So that also has a lot to do with that too.
I think that is a great point. I think that is a really good point. But I guess my I guess my mindset right now at 38 is I don't want to waste anybody's time. So I really want to talk about those numbers, in the beginning, because during that first conversation, if you don't feel that if you don't feel like you're looking, if that's not your desire within those 2 years, then I feel like let's no longer talk on the phone, because let's be honest, nobody's really looking for male friends anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I really have my male friends established
Mm-hmm.
already, so
Mm-hmm.
I don't really need
Mm-hmm.
any more.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I really want to have that conversation first, or
Mm-hmm.
maximum second conversation, because I mean, unless you got a friend or something, or cousin, but that's how I feel about that conversation. So the question that someone asked is, should women ask, where is this relation going?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. And when you say, and see, that can also be broken up into two things as well, because you have so many people that don't believe in titles, that are dating multiple people at the same time, and so many women may be confused around where this relationship going, or you have women that are in serious and committed relationships and
Mm-hmm.
have been dating for 5 or 10 years and don't know where the relationship is going.
Mm-hmm. Why do you think that women particularly are afraid to ask that question?
That's a good question. In some ways, I believe is they so dependent upon that man being the one to lead, or that man being the one to ask. And the Bible verse that talks about the man finds a wife, he finds a good thing. So in a way, it's like they're allowing that man to lead, but it doesn't take a man 5 or 10 years to know
Mm-hmm.
if he's willing to marry you.
Yeah.
So and especially if women are putting it out there so fast, so early, if they living together, if they having premarital sex, you doing everything for them, then that man is just stay complacent, and he may say, "Oh yeah, yeah, you wifey," but he's not gonna really bring it home or bring it together, because you're already giving him exactly what
Mm-hmm.
he what he's looking for. I know I just went around. I hope I answered that
No,
question
no,
clearly.
you did. And I think that also with the females, we become comfortable in that life. We do desire more, but we don't want to rock the boat,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and so we throw out hints
Right.
and all that other stuff, and I just feel like hints don't work. I'm just really a black and white person, so I just need to know.
And some people too, Martinique, struggle with loneliness. If you think about it, the reason why so many people stay in really long dating relationships, if people stay, if people accept so much within a relationship, people do not like being alone. People are afraid,
Mm-hmm.
of being alone, and they would rather be complacent. They would rather just stay in that situation with somebody than being by themselves, being alone, starting over. They would just
Yeah.
rather just stay in that situation and just, hope that the chips lie where they supposed to lie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, that's true. And maybe that's why I'm okay with having that conversation in the beginning, just because
Mm-hmm.
I have been by myself for so long,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like I'm cool with it. And when I tell people that I'm okay with being single, I think people think that I no longer desire a relationship. That's not where I'm at, y'all. It's more so, I've lived this single life, and I have never, and being a Christian, some people think that it's odd to say this or wrong to even, but I have never enjoyed singleness. I do desire a relationship, but there is so much stuff that I will not tolerate, that I'm just like, I'd rather be by myself, And so that's just where I'm at with that. But Doc Sierra, she said, Martinique, you referenced a few male friends and they sound pretty cool. What's up? Nobody
She
made
put
your
you on the
list.
spot.
None, they ain't made my list, girl. But just the guys that I typically reference are, married, or, I truly have no desire in being in a relationship with them, So there that is, Doc Angela. But one thing that I was thinking about, Coach Abby, is I was thinking about, I feel that so many women and men have friendships with people that they know that are single. I think it would be so cool if maybe, like, let's act like it was 10 people, like, on this watching the show, and we knew of 3 really good males, like everybody for the opposite sex. So I knew 3 really good males, and then like Doc Angela knew 3 really good males. No, those 3 good males are not for Doc Angela, but she feels that those 3 males would be good for me. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like, I wonder, like, how come friends can't come together? Friends that really don't know people. I want to say people because everybody's saying they friends nowadays, but people that know each other, why can't they pull from the people they know and like try to connect them with other people that may be a good match? Now, you all, if y'all think that's a good idea, maybe we could start something up. I just wanted to throw that out there. I think that would be so cool. But if you're interested, put interested, and I'm gonna try to maybe make a Google form or something. I think that'd be cool. But the next question is, I thought this was a really good one. This came from Regina Hill. She said, what if you have concerns at your timeline, but the concerns that you have are not about the person's character? For example, your living styles, your spending and saving styles, the way that you communicate with each other, and how you deal with conflict. And I'll read this question again, but I really thought that was something good that she pointed out, that every concern may not be a character flaw, because that's what I mostly think about, like the character of the person. But she's looking at it like, well, maybe there could be other things that could be concerns. And when you reach your 2 years, Martinique, what are you going to do then if maybe their spending habit is different? Maybe how they deal with conflict is different. So what would you say to that? And I'll read the question again. What if you have concerns at your timeline, but they're not character concerns?
Yeah, that's when I would recommend counseling. Yeah, that's when I would recommend counseling, or if your church offers premarital counseling or some type of couples ministry, or couples, group, that's when I would recommend you actually get some outside help on that to figure out how to, best resolve conflict, how to communicate, because by that time, you're just maybe looking for some tools, right, on how to deal with that. Managing finances is huge. I know for when Daryl and I went through premarital counseling, finances was one of the topics. We had to research each other's credit scores, That was huge. So just having that couples counseling or premarital counseling to go through will help you in a lot of those areas pretty quickly.
But I
Yeah.
guess sometimes Coach, I was about to
Mm-hmm.
call you Coach Angela. One of the things that I think about, Coach Abby, is I feel like if I'm doing this type of therapy, or even if we're calling it premarital counseling, and I'm not even engaged yet, I feel like I'm already in love with this person. So if I begin to if me and this person begin to realize these things about each other, I would probably more so have a blind eye towards them because I am in love with this person. Meaning that even if you told me, Martinique, he's spending a third of his paycheck on Jordans, then it's like, but I love him, and it would be so much more difficult to break up with him if I didn't see that this behavior changed. So why isn't it okay to start this type of, I guess, I want to call it counseling. It may not even be with a professional, but like, why isn't it okay to start like this counseling stuff, maybe even in the first or second month, when I'm not emotionally tied to this person yet? Because I want to be, I guess I just want to end it like, look, you're not for me. I haven't felt, I like you a lot. I'm not in love with you yet. And I guess I just don't want to be hurt. So I want to be easily able to cut it off.
But why would you? But at the 2-year mark, you really know this person. At 2 months, you coming into counseling with what do you have to go on? You don't even know the person's spending habits. You don't know if the person doesn't pick up behind themselves. Like, that's so early. You're just in. Have you even met the parents yet? Have you met the friends and family yet? That's still so new and fresh. Versus 2 years, marriage should have already been talked about, right?
But that's what I'm saying. I don't have to know those things about him yet. I want to find out about it early so that I'm not emotionally tied to this person yet, and it's easier for me to break it off with him. That's
But
why
what
I
if
want to
you?
know early.
But what if you don't know early?
That's why I say I want to do that counseling. I want to give me a book. Maybe we should plug in your book. Give me a book that me and him can read so we can talk about
But he
these
may,
things. And
but even you can talk about it, but they may say one thing, and a situation, a new situation arise, and then it could be something else. So you're never going to, you get what I'm saying?
yeah,
You're never going to,
unfortunately.
yeah, you're never going to know everything, and you don't want to look for perfection, right? Everybody comes with their the things that they need to work on. As long as they're willing to work on those things and they're showing you that they're working on those things, that's what matters. Because you can find out in 2 months and read the book that he's picking up behind him. I'm just throwing something out there. But then 2 years later, you come to find out that, wow, our spending habits are not the same, and I have an issue with it. You get what I'm saying? So there's always going to be that something.
Yeah, yeah. That's true. I get it. And I guess I do this now, but you really just have to have your eyes open, in the dating phase.
And
Stages.
Be realistic and have grace.
Okay.
Martinique.
I know. I'm gonna have grace. And the thing is, this is how I am with just relationships in general. I feel that if this relationship is worth having, I will definitely bring to your attention maybe something that I'm having a problem with, or something that I see that if I was in a dating relationship, if I see something that I feel will affect me, then I'll bring it up. Like, let's say, for example, I know this one guy that I was, Coach Abby, I really like this guy. So I noticed he liked to push me, and I would say stop, and he didn't stop. Now, to me, that's pretty major because this was a big boy, and my mom be like, "Why do you like big boys?" I'm like, "I don't know," but he was a big boy, and I'm only 5'2", you know. And so if he played rough with me like that, and I'm saying stop, and you don't stop, then that's when I get a little like, okay, like why would he not stop if I'm asking him to, you know? So I start to think about those things. But like you, I really have to be, not saying only I, but we really have to be just eyes wide open, you know, in these dating stages as well. So now, what are some of the risks of being non-negotiable with your timeline, you think?
Well, some of the risks are, complacency, not really having a goal in your relationship, not really having structure for it, not really having it built on a solid foundation. So it's just like you're just going with the flow, basically. So anybody can come in and take your partner. Because it's like that person gets complacent and gets bored and they move on, to the next. So if there's like no timeline around your goal as far as, marriage, then, your relationship is really not secure.
Well, I think with this question, they were asking, what are the risks of being non-negotiable with your timeline? So if I'm saying 2 years, look, we better be engaged at 2 years. And I'm like, that's a hard, fast rule. She's asking, what is the risk of me having that hard, fast 2-year point and not wavering it at all? What's the risk in that?
You should know something within 2 years.
Well, mine was just an example of 2 years. So somebody else might be 5 years, but she's more so asking, what's the risk of being non-negotiable with your timeline in general, regardless of what that person's number is?
Maybe the risk will be the relationship not going anywhere, but these goals should already be set with the person from the very beginning. There should already be those goals, set. Now, if there's like some type of, and again, I think about, I do want to say this. A lot of people confuse wedding with marriage, right? So
what's the difference?
The difference, a wedding is just it's a day, it's a celebration that flies by so fast that you spend all this money on and it's gone, right? A marriage is for a lifetime. So even, let's say, we'll just use 2 years, maybe, something comes up, maybe that may affect your wedding plans or, the venue or whatnot. But what does that have to do with you actually getting married? Getting a marriage certificate. So I think a lot of people confuse their 2-year timeline with having a wedding date set versus actually being married.
Well, see, with me, mine is, because I know that I was talking with somebody on the post, and they were just more so saying, what if it's not at 2 years? And my thing was, I have this desire for that 2 years. Within 2 years. That's what it is, within 2 years. So even at 2 years, we need to be engaged. You know what I'm saying? It's like we need to be moving forward to the ultimate goal, which is marriage. It should not, I'm not going to be at 2 years still just your girlfriend, and
Mm-hmm.
that's what I was trying to explain to that person.
Mm-hmm.
We need to have a title change. two,
Mm-hmm.
two
Mm-hmm.
years. So yeah, that's how I felt about it. But the next question is, should you stay with the person if they don't? Oh, I do want to say this to you. So Doc Angela said, she said, let me see what she said. She said, Coach Abby, you always look pretty. She said, but tonight you look very pretty! Exclamation point,
Oh,
exclamation
thank
point.
you. Thank you, Doc.
She said the yellow dress, the hair, the lip color is on fire.
Thank
Um,
you.
why was I about to say you welcome? But the next question is, should you stay with a person if they don't meet your timeline? Y'all know my response to that.
Um, gosh, sometimes every answer is not so direct because why isn't the person meeting your timeline?
Mhm.
Again, what is going on? Why especially if this is something you all have talked about, is he or she getting cold feet? Has there been some, I don't know, some infidelity? Has there
Mhm.
been, some issues with, finances? Like what is it why that you're not able to meet this 2 year or
Mhm.
whatever deadline, this timeline?
Yeah. Yeah. I know that I was actually talking to my friend, and we were just talking about and this is the same friend, Doc Angela, that I was telling you is married. So I was talking to him, and he was just more so trying to, because his thing is, one, I would never be with somebody that I didn't live with first. And his second point was, I would never be with someone that I didn't have sex with first. So, my views on that is completely the opposite. So I was telling him that, right now I'm not focused on a relationship. Right now I'm focused on my career. And I told him I kind of feel like a guy in that aspect, where some men, they want to have everything in order before they start building this family with somebody, before they start getting in that serious relationship. And I kind of feel like that's where I am. I want to have, my professional career stable before I'm even thinking about being in a relationship. Now, guys that's watching, I'm really to be flexible, but I'm just saying that's where my focus is. And
Mhm.
so, when you talked about why isn't that person able to meet that timeline yet, that's what I'm thinking about. Maybe they want to get some things in order before they start focusing on this relationship.
While
Do
in
you
the relationship?
Well, but before using my example, before getting engaged to somebody, before marrying somebody, they want to have everything in order, maybe financially. um I just feel like financial is like one of those bigger things that people want to have in order. Not
Mm-hmm.
everybody, but some people want to
Mm-hmm.
have in order before they start like really committing to somebody. So that's one of the reasons why I would think somebody did not meet that other person's timeline yet. And I feel like you just have to either accept it or not accept it. What do you think?
Yeah, and again, yeah, I guess so. Because what are you doing? I guess I'm still confused as far as, where are you with these things, as far as,
Yeah.
If you guys have set a goal that you would like to see this happen within 3 years, what are you doing to work on those goals to make sure those things are happening?
Mm-hmm.
And especially, so, and I guess that's where, I'm at. If you all have set down and you all have came up with your goals for your relationship, you would like to be married within the next 3 years, engaged within the next, 2 years, and you have developed this plan, then, what's going on what's going on where this has not been met.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that really goes in line with what your husband Daryl just said. So Daryl said, but if they are dating to get married, then why are they dating before being at that place that they want to be at life before getting married? And I think that that's a good point. I think that's a good point. Don't waste your time playing with everybody's heart if you don't feel like you are ready to be in a serious relationship, and so that's the truth. That's the truth. And I think that maybe we've just become so comfortable with dating so many people, that sometimes we can have that attitude of, well, if this person doesn't accept it, then I'll just move on to the next person.
Yeah.
So, we have to be mindful of that, especially if you're a heartbreaker. Don't, your capabilities, your effect on people, you ain't ready.
Right.
You are not trying to be in no serious relationship. So stop it. And that's what I just thought about. That's why we have to be okay with being alone.
Yeah.
Like that's why we have to be okay with being by ourselves, because we begin to break people's hearts, and so that's what I really realized about myself during college. Like I enjoyed the companionship of guys, and so the last guy that I was, not saying the very last guy, but one of the guys that really was a wake-up call for me was this guy that I was just always that person, like the grass is greener on the other side. And so I met a great guy, and just being 38 now and he's married with kids, sometimes I think about like, man, that could have been me, and I was dating him. We were in a committed relationship and everything. And then I saw somebody else that's the grass greener on the other side. I started to like the other guy more, and I broke up with him, and he told me, he said, I wish I never met you. Now that was my wake-up call. Like, Martinique, you call yourself a Christian, but that you don't want to be in a relationship with these guys.
Right.
Yeah.
That's good perspective.
Well, it's good now, but when it happened, I was looking like, woo. I was like, boy, get out my face. That is not the way a breakup conversation is supposed to go. So the next question is, how does this book actually address this topic?
Yeah, so in my book, I go deeper on time frames within marriage. I mean, to get to marriage, and how that dating relationship should be, as far as a good timeline, when you should be committed to one another, when you should be engaged, when you should be married. So I really break down those steps within the book clearly around that.
Now
to help women.
If you're interested in purchasing Coach Abby's book, make sure you go to that description box right there next to the $. You can click on that link, because many of the topics that we discuss bi-weekly here on the show are topics that Coach Abby discusses in her book as well. So click on that link and you can actually read that book summary, because we just give you a taste of things, but once you read that book summary, then you'll be able to also have a better understanding. And the book is audible,
Yes, it is an
audible
Audible.
book
Yes. Yep.
as
So you can
well.
listen in audio format.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I know
Mm-hmm.
people really enjoy those audio books. I enjoy audio books as well, but I realize like I really don't pay attention when I'm listening to an audio book. So it just be playing, something else. But whatever your style of reading or listening to a book, then Coach Abby has you covered for that as well. So
Mm-hmm.
I know we've been talking about a lot of things now. One of the great things about Coach Abby is you can actually have a free, what would you call it, a discovery session?
Yeah, from dating to I do clarity session.
You can have a free clarity session with Coach Abby.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you're interested in that, go there in the description box right there next to that red telephone. Click on that link and you can immediately set up your clarity session
Mm-hmm.
with
Mm-hmm.
with Coach Abby. And I really do encourage you guys to set that up if this is a service that you're interested in utilizing. Tell them a little bit more about your services that you do offer, though, Coach Abby.
Yeah, so within that clarity session, I will help you to understand those patterns that are keeping you single, that's keeping you attracting the wrong type of men, and give you your own personalized, dating roadmap for you to get started on right after that call. And basically, what I offer is a one-on-one coaching session. I mean, coaching program from dating to I do. It's a 4-month program
Mm-hmm.
where we really dig in on learning who you are as a woman, who God has called you to be, knowing what type of husband God has created for you, learning about your feminine energy. I also, help you to create your own online dating profile that will actually optimize, getting the right type of matches in front of you, and really just having me on hand as your own personalized dating coach. So having that first date, having that second date, having that third date, and just really pushing you, forward through that dating process.
That's good. That's good. So again, you guys, I remind you, if you're interested in just learning more about Coach Abby's services, make sure you go ahead. You can click on that link, and actually at the menu bar, you can actually look at the different services she offers. But then again, another thing is, if you are ready for that clarification session, click on that link that's right there next to that telephone, and then you can actually set up your clarity session with her tonight. It won't be tonight, but you can
Right.
schedule it. Coach Abby working the midnight oil hours for that. But I know we've been talking a lot about timelines and things like that. What is the purpose of the timeline then? If it has the ability sometimes to be broken and things like that, why do you feel that there is a benefit, or do you feel there is not a benefit of having a timeline?
So the benefit of having a timeline is to create that structure in your relationship, to create that goal setting within your relationship. You want to have a defined plan. You want to have a destination. You want to know where are we going with this. And so without a timeline, you're doing is hoping and wishing, and you know, and you're just dating without no real purpose,
Mhm.
no real clear destination as far as where this is going. Like, you may want it to go one way, but if there's no goal setting around it, if you're not working towards a common goal, you could be sitting complacent with somebody for 10 plus years and still, hoping that, well, I hope he proposes to me one day, when the conversation is not really being happened.
Yeah. So
Mhm.
now, whenever I hear the word timeline, I always equate that to marriage. Can timeline mean something else in a dating
I
relationship?
equate it to marriage.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I equate it to marriage too.
Yeah. That's what I equate it to as well. But I guess we can also say maybe not just a physical wedding, but I can also say, well, I expect to be engaged at this time. Um, but
I would say marriage because marriage is the final destination. People get engaged and be engaged for 5 or 10 years. You
yeah,
really want to make it clear that that marriage is what you're looking for. Once you say marriage is your timeline, then you work backwards from that. So stick it to marriage. Just stick to marriage.
yeah. Okay, that's good because I don't want him to be like, well, girl, you said engaged.
Yeah, engagement does not equal marriage. If you
I'm
want
like, boy,
marriage,
if you
say
don't quit,
marriage.
quit playing with me. But what do you feel like is the downfall of having a long engagement though?
uh, Complacency, comfortability.
Yeah.
Again, there's no real destination, no clear plan. Your foundation is not, it's not strong. I mean, if it like you could break up, somebody could come in and just swoop that person away from you. Boredom,
Yeah.
that lack of commitment, fear, definitely fear, can come in. And all you're doing is just, you're just sitting.
Yeah. And I think that some people, I don't know, maybe some men could use that as a tool to shut the woman up. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? Like if she's
Mm-hmm.
always just like, well, I said I want to be married, be married. And then he said, okay, well, let's get engaged. We engaged. Now I got you for another solid 3 years.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
3 years. Until you say
Exactly.
something else. These men are slick, y'all. Don't let them slick you. Um, but what do you think about? Because I know that you mentioned a woman hoping that this man asks them to marry them, and this was brought up by Doc Sierra. This wasn't her question, but the question that I had is, instead of that woman hoping that he asked her to marry, she just goes ahead and asks him herself to marry her. What's your thoughts about that?
No, the Bible clearly states when a man finds a wife, he finds a good thing and finds favor in the eyes of the Lord. It doesn't say when a woman finds a husband. So, no, it needs to be the man. If a woman is asking a man for his hand in marriage, now you're taking the lead role in that relationship, and you're not allowing the man to be the lead as what God has called him to be. Because the
Yeah.
Bible also says when a man leaves his father and mother, he clings to his wife and the two will become one flesh. So again, it's that man, God has set the man to be the head of the home. So it's for him to leave his parents' house to go search for that wife, find his wife, and cling to her, and they become one flesh. It's not the woman doing that. That's the responsibility of the man.
Yeah. And that's I mean, I really, like, back in the day, I had no problem with asking a guy. I had no problem, and I think that this is kind of where I think this is what I think. I think this is where me and you like disagree, because I used to be that woman that had no problem to ask a guy, well, do you want to go shoot pool? And that was like my settled way of asking him out on a date, because I'm pretty assertive, and I always gave those guys, oh, well, maybe he's just shy, and things like that. And there were so many times where I realized these guys that I was asking let's go do X, Y, and Z with, they really did not have that assertive characteristic that I was desiring in a guy when it came to pursuing me. So I was just like, nope, I'm not doing that anymore. And tell me if that's something that you are different on, right?
So what are you asking?
For dating, are you okay with the female asking the guy to date on a date?
No, I said it's okay for a female to start a conversation, but no, the
Okay.
man should still ask the woman for a date. No,
Okay.
I teach women that it's okay to be the one to start a conversation. It's okay to
Okay.
go up to a man and ask him how he's doing, and get that conversation going. And by the end of the conversation, by the end of that time together, if he does not then take that lead to say, hey, would you like to continue this conversation? I want to continue to get to know you. If he doesn't say that, then just leave it alone.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That
That's
is
what I
true.
teach.
Okay. And I'm glad that you I'm glad that you corrected me. And I think that is really good, Coach Abby. That because we have so many like societal thoughts of how things should be done, and I know that you actually just talked about like it's okay for you to start that conversation, but where do you think the cutoff should be? Should the cutoff be okay? My cutoff is when this brother is giving me one worded responses and he's not asking me questions. Because I mean, I love asking people questions, as y'all know. I can ask you a question to death, but if you cute and don't be African, if you cute and you African, I'm gonna need you to ask me some questions so I can feel like you're interested in me. Coach Abby, where does it need to end where the female stops and recognizes if this guy is actually asking her questions because he's interested as well?
You mean just approaching somebody?
Having
Or
that conversation.
oh,
So
yeah, I would just end it, say, okay, well, it's nice meeting you.
okay. So if you feel like this guy isn't like reciprocating those questions, then wow, it was good talking to you.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that people put too much pressure on that piece. All you're doing is just look at it as like you're networking. Not networking, but I think there's so much pressure on that first initial interaction where it shouldn't be that much pressure. It's just like if you wasn't at a party, and you just want to meet new people, even if you was to go up to a female and say, hey, I like your dress, where'd you get it from, and she just give you one word answers, why would you continue to sit there and talk to her when clearly she's not engaging with you? So okay, well, it's so nice to meet you, and you go mingle with somebody else.
That's good. That's good. Now, Coach Angela said, Doc Angela said, Coach Abby, I appreciate your consistency and where you stand on things. I think women are just taking the reins and not letting men be men. Yes, Doc Angela, that's where I was at. I was like, shoot, if this brother wanted a job, he would go pursue it.
So. Yeah, exactly. But men, no, it just means they're not interested.
Oh, that's what we got to get used to.
They're just not interested. A man, they could be shy or whatever, but when a man knows what he sees, what he wants, what he likes, he will go after it. He was just not interested.
Yeah. And I think that's what we have to become comfortable with.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, that's really good. So one question that I had that's really off topic from one of the post questions was, what seems to be the the best place to meet someone to date?
I think you should diversify it. I mean, you can do online dating, you can do offline activities. I mean, I would just diversify. I wouldn't just rely on just one place or thing to, to meet somebody.
Yeah. And talk to us a little bit about not putting that pressure on yourself if you don't meet somebody. Like, just don't give up if you don't meet
Yeah,
somebody.
exactly. I mean, you don't give up when you're looking for a job. Do you just stop turning in applications?
Right.
Do you just stop applying? No, you keep going. You mentioned Martinique, your career. You're trying to get to a certain place. You're not going to just stop when things may not go the way you want them to go. So it's the same with dating. We all deal with rejection in many areas of our lives. So don't let dating be the, oh my gosh, he don't like me type of thing. Like, just keep going.
Yeah.
I don't
Just
know
keep
why. Yeah, I
going.
don't know why it's so many hangups around dating and rejection. Like, you don't get rejected by the job you interview for, the school you apply to, a potential client, it's all part of rejection.
That's true. Maybe we focus it. Maybe so much focus is put more so on ourselves. Like, okay, I didn't get this job. I'm applying for more jobs. I don't really internalize it just because I'm like, I know I'm good, so I'm just, it's gonna come. But when a person rejects you, we take it so much more to heart, because I think we start to look at our external, like, well, maybe it's the way I look, maybe it's my hair, maybe, it's my personality. And we start to throw all those other things that maybe it really isn't.
It could be with jobs too, depending on how far you get into the interview process. I think it's really how far you get into that process.
Well, one last question that we have from Kaylee Barnes is, should a leading man say I love you first?
I believe so.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
I can hear other people's opinions. Did she ask if a man should say he loves?
She said, should a leading man say I love you first?
Daryl said he loved me first.
Well, thank goodness for that, because we don't know what this story, how this story would have ended up. I just feel like, I'm a very a very emotion driven person. And so, like, if I love that person, then, I feel like I should tell them. That's just me.
I would love to hear, I would love to hear other people's opinions.
What y'all think? What do you think? While you guys are answering that question, again, don't forget to visit that description box, because that's actually where you can follow Coach Abby on her social media handles. Also, if you're interested in that clarification session, you can definitely go ahead and click on that link that's right there next to that telephone. And you can actually set your appointment up now for your clarification session. And then also, if you're interested in Coach Abby's book, make sure you click on that link that's right there next to the $sign. Now, when you click on that link, it will lead you to that book summary as well, and you will be able to learn a lot more about Coach Abby's book. Don't forget, it's also an audio book as well, so you want to purchase that as well. So Daryl said only if he means it. And then Kaylee also said, amen. I have been sitting on my heels a little bit because I want my guy to lead the relationship. Interesting. You want him to lead the relationship. When you say that though, Kaylee, I'm just thinking about, why am I talking louder like she's on the line? um, but Kaylee, I guess I'm thinking about, because you said you first asked the question, is it okay? Should the leading guy say I love you first? If he was to say that, does that equate to him leading the relationship? I mean, because he could say it, but still not lead in other areas of your relationship still. That's just how I'm thinking about
That's a
with
good
that.
point.
What's your thoughts, Coach Abby?
No, that's a good point. Yeah. I mean, and leading a relationship, I guess, is she asking when it comes to proposal, when it comes to, that's the only way I would see somebody leading, a man leading the relationship, because you don't want to be the one to, of course, get down on one knee and ask, but there should also be definitely a partnership with that as well, too.
Yeah.
Or maybe she's talking about the spiritual lead.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's the tough part though, just those personalities coming together, especially if maybe he's like a really laid back person and he's just like, I don't care, go with the flow. And then you're a scheduler, everything needs to be in order for your life. That's tough. I just got into Amazing Race, the show, and like you really see how these personalities clash. So it's crazy. It is crazy. So you guys, I'm so excited that you guys have I just love that in this engagement. Tonight we had some really great comments that was posted as well. Now you are also in for another treat. On September 13th, we are going to be talking about navigating dating and marriage in your 40s. Do not miss that episode, y'all. We are going to have guests. It's Mr. and Mrs. Murphy that's going to be on the show. Now, they actually got married in their 40s. Can you believe it? I mean, y'all be thinking that it's over if you ain't married in your 30s. Look, Jesus is still in the working business. Oh, no, but don't miss that show. It's going to be September 13th. At 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That is a Monday. We do these shows bi-weekly. Now, if you're interested in getting on our email list, so you can always be notified of the shows and Coach Abby's services as well, go ahead and DM me or Coach Abby. And just send us your email and we will put you on that list as well. Don't forget to continue to share this episode so that more people will know about Coach Abby as well as her services and as well as the show. We definitely hope that you guys have a great remainder of the night and we will talk to you all later. Bye-bye.
Bye.